Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to the Empty Promise podcast. This is a very, very much just a tester to see how our connection and sound is working while we're in two completely different states.
Countries.
Yes, countries, that'll do. And if this works out well, then we will be back on your screens into your hearts very, very shortly. But basically, we just got together today because we want to discuss the aftermath of The Last of Us 2. So, without further ado, there is going to be spoilers, of course, because I can't.
Full spoiler fest.
Yeah, I mean there was spoilers out before the game even came out, So, let's jump into it, D. Let's see how this goes. What way do you want to start? I think we should just go through the game.
Your best place to start is at the beginning, Chris?
At the beginning, yeah. Okay.
I think so.
Initial reaction when you turn that game on, D. The introduction. You see Joel and you see Tommy. Joel's like cleaning up a guitar, and he's talking to Tom. Basically, it's like a way of recapping the game of the events of the first game. So, what were your initial kind of impressions?
I knew from that moment that the ending of the first game was going to be more important to this game than I thought it would ever be. So when they started with a recap of what had happened, that sort of cemented in my head that, oh boy, this is going to have to be dealt with.
Yeah,
part of me thought it was just going to be kind of like that was what happened in the first game, and that was Joel's choice, and that's what that's just what he did.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I seen it. Yeah, is what had happened in the first game was, like you said, was Joel's choice. I didn't think that was going to be the kind of crux, if you like, of this story in the second. I didn't think it was going to just be involved as much, but as obviously it progresses and you kind of realize the effects of the choices that were made at the end of the first game, you can see why they based the second game, an entire game around those decisions.
We should have known that it being Naughty Dog, that they're not just going to let things happen without repercussions.
Yeah.
But from that moment, I knew that okay, so there is quite a bit of significance to the things that happened at the end of the first game, as there rightly should be. I mean, it was like a massive part of the whole story of the first game. So from that moment, I think a lot of people, and whoever read the leaks in particular.
Just before, did you know anything about this game at all going into it? Did you was it anything spoiled on you?
Nothing was spoiled. I had heard people were annoyed. I heard a lot of people were angry with it, and some people were. Did
you know the reasons why, kind of thing? Did you know why those people were angry?
I heard was story, didn't like it, and people were on reviewing it and giving it like 0s out of 10 before the game had even launched. Like, I knew all of that fanfare was happening behind the scenes. I like yourself, I'm sure I purposely made an effort just to avoid it all. Until I got to play it.
I avoided
kind of part of that, like part of the reason that I played it when I did is because I just didn't want it to be spoiled, and I needed to sort of get it played so that I would get a fresh perspective on it, because the pressure was mounting a lot. I wanted to play other things first, but
you had said that to me, and I thought, you have a big backlog at the minute, and I know you're getting through that. But after I had made my way, through at least the first half of the game, I was just thinking, like, I need to text him and tell him he has to play this quickly, but I didn't know a way to do it without kind of spoiling it. I didn't hear anything about it until the game was literally installing, and I decided to check the reviews, to see just what it was scoring. I seen Metacritic give it like a 94, and I thought that's all I need to see. I didn't go in, I didn't look at anything until well after I had finished it, and then I started reading into like the critics, if you like, of what they were saying about the game. So I was so glad that I avoided everything, and we'll touch on like. We all kind of knew that what happened was going to happen. I think. Well, me and you touched on it in the podcast. We knew somebody was going to go out, and big things were going to happen. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll get to that. Joel and Tommy started the game, and then you're making your way into Jackson for the first time. My first reactions, just at the look, first of all, of the game was just absolutely incredible. Like,
stunning.
Like when you're taking that horse through, like, you know, like the
wheat field.
The bar, yeah. Oh my God. And the sunlight's coming down through like the trees and things. That's something else. Like, just knew this game was going to be special. You get to Jackson, you hitch up the horses or whatever, and you get your first of what honestly is like the best cutscenes in games I think I've ever experienced. You know,
so basically watching a film. Like,
unbelievable.
It's like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's only because you know that you've got a control in your hands and you're playing a game.
Yeah.
That you're like, this is a cutscene. Otherwise, you'd be like, I'm watching HBO.
Yeah.
I'm watching Game of Thrones type television.
Yeah, definitely.
So good, like.
It was fantastic, and they set it up brilliantly at the start. You get back into Jackson or whatever, and then Joel makes his way. Isn't there like a flashback almost? Joel makes his way to Ellie's house. Yeah, but it's like a couple of years prior.
The first of many flashbacks, which I was surprised by.
Yeah, very much so. You can kind of see why they did them, but only after playing, hindsight.
That was the kind of, again, and that was focused on Ellie not really trusting Joel after the events of the first game. I keep speaking of the events of the first game as if like we can't speak about that.
There's an embargo in the first game. Yeah.
we're about to have a spoiler talk about the second game. I think we can talk about the ending of the first game. But even then, like they were pushing it. It had become so clear to me that the repercussions of Joel basically murdering a hospital of people was going to come back in some form. Initially, now I thought that was going to be Ellie is going to she's just going to walk, like she's out of here.
You thought she was just going to take off?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. But then that cutscene kind of tempered that a bit. Mm-hmm. See, she was willing or more accepting of just wanting to believe him. What he was saying, even you could tell she didn't really.
Yep.
So at that point, that's what I thought that the crux of the story was going to be. Is going to be that tension between, is he telling the truth or is he lying? And I thought maybe the story would be Ellie going out there and finding the truth.
Yeah. What did happen in the hospital that day, that kind of thing. Yeah. I think, like, obviously the first time that we see Joel and Ellie together, Ellie's obviously a lot younger, so the events are taking place, what we can presume is shortly after the events of the first game, when we know that Ellie hasn't found out the full truth as to what actually happened, and what not what Joel did, but the secrets that he was keeping from her. And they kind of have like not a cold as an exchange as you'd expect. So I was naturally thinking, well, the events of the first game were over and done with. That's something Joel's just going to have to live with. Ellie's just getting on with her life, that kind of thing. They're living here in Jackson. And we've fast forward to Ellie being awakened to actually start our adventure into the game. And she's like, what was it, like 3 or 4 years later? Is that right? Something like that?
Yes, 4 years, I think.
4 years. Yeah. And you're very much then in control of Ellie, and you find out this bit of backstory with Dina and Jesse, and introducing these characters, and you go and you have the snowball fight at the beginning with Dina, and that whole thing is brilliant, and it sets up even beforehand, like we come to understand obviously that there's an event that happened the night before. The whole town's kind of talking, and we kind of didn't really know what was going on. We knew that Joel was somehow like not a bad guy, but he had done something, and
he pissed her off.
And we move on from there then into Ellie and Dina's story, making their way to the lookout posts. Is that right? Like the trails.
It's like they have to like do a route. To confirm there's no infected about.
That's right. Yeah.
That's their first patrol together, or is it her first like major patrol? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, indeed.
That whole sequence surprised me about how quickly I grew to like both Dina and Jesse.
Likewise.
Because I was expecting just not to like them. Based on
kind
like
of side characters.
Yeah, I was like, let's not dwell on these people. We want to get back to Joel and Ellie here. This is what The Last of Us is about.
That was the story.
But like Naughty Dog are no strangers to making you like and make fleshing out real characters.
Oh, like the character development throughout this game is absolutely insane. So much so that we'll get to that.
A lot to get to.
I mean, we're only playing briefly as Ellie at the start of the game, maybe for like, I don't know, what, half an hour or something, and then suddenly you're thrown into this side story of this completely random, at that time, completely random girl who wakes up surrounded by, you know, friends, family, whatever, in this like lodge, who we know then is Abby, and we're thrown into Abby's story. And when she's first taking that kind of walk with Owen, and he says he wants to show her something, and he kind of the Overlook shows Jackson. I was thinking, okay, maybe these people are going to come to Jackson to warn the people of Jackson that there's, you know, something going on, or maybe something to do with the infected. I had no idea that it was going to, you know, start the spiral of events. You kind of hear Abby talking to Owen at the start about he's in there and we want him. And at that point, it never clicked with me that they were obviously after Joel. I don't know about you.
At that moment, it completely clicked with me.
Did it? Yeah.
And that's when I was like, fuck.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's coming for Joel. And I literally, like, in my mind, it was all pieced together. I was like, she was there at the hospital. She's related to the people who died. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is what's happening. They're going for Joel. That was completely clear in my mind. That's what I thought was happening. Especially whenever she took off. Yeah, whenever she took off in like the dead of winter, completely alone.
On her own.
I was like, oh no, this person's coming to kill somebody. Like, she is pissed.
I knew that she was out after someone. I don't know if I didn't want to make myself believe that she was out after Joel or what the situation was, but that never occurred to me until a good bit later in the game. I think it might have just been naivety on my half. I just didn't want it to be. And then obviously later on in the game, you get like a set of kind of flashbacks. And when the penny dropped with me, it was like this like goosebump inducing just moment, like, oh shit, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, like it almost flipped the entire game just on its head for me. But
as I suppose the intention was.
Yeah, I think so. We'll get to that, but as you're playing as, so you've already set out as Ellie, then you set out as Abby, and you can see that these stories are starting to crisscross, and then you know that Joel and Tommy's patrol is out there as well, and the whole lot's kind of come together in one big, you know, like a big amalgamation, a big, I don't know, crescendo, if you like. They're all going to meet. What did you think of that?
Yeah, in my mind, what I thought was going to happen. So I suppose a while ago we must have heard, or I heard from somebody, or I think it was like a release, like this is a game, official game release, that this is a story of revenge.
Okay.
So what I anticipated happening was some sort of confrontation between Abby and, at the time I thought, Ellie and Dina on their patrol, because if you recall, there's a bit where Abby's walking and she sees, there's hoof prints in the snow.
Yep,
and then
that's right.
Later on that cuts to Dina and Ellie, cutting through the snow on horseback. So sort of the assumption is, that's these two.
Yep.
So that's why I seen this coming to a head. Them two getting some sort of conflict, some sort of something gets out, like, because Abby was determined as all hell. She just wanted to take somebody from Jackson and to basically get extract information. So I figured that's going to be, in my mind, Dina, who would die and enrage Ellie to the point of hunting down Abby.
That's exactly from the teaser trailer that we got from E3, like a couple of years ago. Remember where Ellie's playing the guitar and Joel's moving through the house and there's dead bodies everywhere. And then Joel says, you really want to go through with this? And she's hell-bent on this revenge. Like you said, that's what I was sure that the revenge was Dina, who would be Ellie's love interest, had maybe been killed, and now she was going after, you know, this, whoever did this, you know. I assumed at the start maybe Fireflies or some fucking bandit kind of, you know, camp or group or whatever, but and I never seen it coming.
No.
Just what you know.
Yeah.
So obviously
the way they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that they did it, the playing as Abby.
Yep.
And basically fucking up and almost dying, and then who's your
savior?
Your saving grace
then is Joel and Tommy. And the expression on Abby's face when Tommy introduces himself quickly at the start, they're still fleeing infected. He shuts this door and he says, "I'm Tommy. That's my brother Joel." And she kind of pauses. It's like an oh shit, like here I am.
Yeah. Sorry, is that? Yeah, that's in like the ski lodge before she's back with her own.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like right before. It's before the main event happens, if you like. It's like when they're being chased by infected. They board up some door and Tommy says, "I'm Tommy," and that's my brother.
My brother Joe.
And they jump on horses then to get to the lodge. And obviously then they get to the lodge, they get inside, they tether up the horses, and Abby's people are all there. And he introduces himself. He introduces himself as Tommy, and he says, "That's my brother Joel," and the whole room kind of just stops.
Goes dead quiet.
And that's like, yeah. At that point, I was like,
"Is that when the penny dropped for you?"
No, still no. But and I'll tell you why once we discuss this. But the penny obviously drops, and Joel gets his leg kind of blown off, and Tommy gets knocked out, and you're like, "Oh shit, what's going to happen?" In my head, I still seen Ellie coming to the rescue, because I knew we were going to cut back to Ellie. I knew that was coming. We were going to cut back to Ellie. We were going to go to the lodge, and we were going to, just storm in there. Yeah. And maybe then I was thinking, maybe is Joel going to be paralyzed, or is he going to be crippled or something? And then that's like the fuel that sparks Ellie's kind of fire, that she just wants revenge on these people. But no, I did not see the events that unfolded, at all.
In my mind, knowing the type of game that The Last of Us was, when he got shot in the leg like that, and whenever Tommy got knocked out, that is when I was like, there's no reasonable way for him to come out of this.
Yeah.
There's no way like Ellie, or even Ellie, Dina, and Jesse, all three of them, storming that room and taking Joel out of that situation. I was like, this is over. Like, this is, but I knew that they were going to give us that fleeting hope.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, which they did, but I was still fairly confident, like, Joel's not making out of the situation. And I was just like, fuck.
I think you and I had discussed it before, and I had kind of said jokingly before, even on the podcast, Joel's going to die, and we all have to be prepared for this. But like the way it was done was just incredible. To have Ellie there, pinned down on the floor, Joel beaten to a pulp, and I was thinking, maybe he won't die here. He'll like succumb to his wounds, kind of thing. That kind of way. I didn't see it going the way it did with a fucking golf club, and Abby basically mashing his head in front of Ellie.
In front of Ellie, yeah.
That was like the oh shit moment. Like, okay, this is really going to be pretty bad here. Like,
it's I mean, it's typical of The Last of Us that he doesn't get a hero's death. He doesn't go down fighting. He's literally
very real.
He was pinned down. He was in a losing situation. Mm-hmm. There was nothing he could have done, and the best thing that Ellie could do is to try and stop it. She was ultimately, helpless.
She was helpless. And,
I mean, in a real situation, like, that was what was going to happen. There was no ways making out of it. There was no like MacGuffin to come in and save the day. I was expecting just like a gun to the head, but the way they decided to do it is just brutal, visceral.
Yep.
Just sinking in your gut, like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. And funny, I seen you see the scene, and you're like, well, that's Joel done basically. And yet, right until like another maybe 20 minutes of the game, I still held on to the slight possibility that he was going to be okay.
He's going to make it out of it.
The next scene is, I think, Tommy comes around to visit Ellie at her house back in Jackson, and he's coming, like, bringing her food and checking up on her, kind of thing. And I was certain, I was so sure that he was going to say, he'll be okay in a couple of days, or he's not doing so well and he might not pull through or something like that. I
wasn't thinking that.
I was kind of thinking that is definitely not the last time we've seen Joel. He has been through so much more. He's a fighter, 5 iron to the head. He could take it,
I wasn't. I was fairly confident he was dead. The way they'd done it, it was so just so fucking gruesome to. I was like, there's no, even if he was alive, like after that, that wasn't even, that's not a life worth living.
It's not
like,
a life.
He was put a fucking club right through his skull, man. Oh,
the scene at the grave really got me. I was like, okay, that was kind of like I almost felt like I wanted revenge at that point too.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, and going back to his house then and kind of going through his things, that was proper. Like, okay, we're going out. We're gonna hunt these guys down.
Gonna fuck this bitch up.
Yeah.
I think that again, like that's all part of like the process. Like the way they designed it was that they wanted to make you, the player, like fucking angry.
Yeah.
They didn't like take him out behind a door and shoot him. Like you saw, and they made sure that that Ellie saw the whole thing and in pure full gruesomeness.
Yeah.
And was paralyzed, you know, unable to do anything. They just made it the worst possible situation so that you would just feel that fire in your own belly to be like,
yeah,
we need the justice must be served.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they did it just incredibly well. And Tommy then going on the chase by himself really set it up. Then I was like, okay. When Tommy went out in his own, I kind of had that like gut punch feeling that it was like, okay, well, he's not coming back either. You know, this is what they're going to do. Here we go. We're just going to fucking lose everybody in this game, you know? But we take off and we start Ellie's kind of big revenge story. And the first point I kind of want to get to on this is that kind of downtown open area that you come into in the game, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. I loved it.
I think the best playable area of the game.
You think?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the fact that you could free roam. It wasn't even a massive free roaming section, but the fact that you could just explore it and like pick up the information.
So much, you know, so many different like buildings and areas that you could go to, and it just like you say, explore or choose not to explore was fantastic. I actually, Aaron, my brother, he recently played through the entire thing, and I watched it as he was playing it, and he discovered things that I didn't in that area, and I was like, this is incredible, you know, like they included so much. I, for one, didn't go to the bank the first time I played it. You know, there's like a big bank building. You crawl under rubble to get into it, and that's where you get like a shotgun out of like taking on infected. I didn't, and just little things like that.
Did
like
you just never had the shotgun then for the rest of the game?
No, I had the shotgun, but I didn't pick it up until I think it was like the TV station when you get to like Leah in the TV station.
Yes.
It was much later in the game I got it, and I was like, this is cool, you know, because I can either like that. He had the shotgun for the events leading up to it. I didn't, and I just thought that was awesome. Like the music store as well was another one of my favorite moments in the game by far.
Is that the same? Yeah, that's the same level, isn't it?
Yeah. You go into the music store and Ellie plays the guitar kind of for the first time in, you know, properly in game. She plays
that part. I'm probably gonna be like contrarian about that. I remember thinking like that's a nice bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then doesn't she basically sing like 2.5 minutes of a song?
She sings, it does. It goes on for quite a bit. Like she sings like 2 verses basically of the song.
I remember while I was watching that, I was like, that's a nice bit, but I was like, kind of at the same time, I was almost cringing. I was like, I don't know if I quite like this.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I just thought, like that, maybe they could have done a bit less. And then the thoughts were kind of coming to my head, like every time she pulls out this guitar, you know, it's like just a reminder of Joel. It's her way of like remembering Joel. And I was like, if they want to make this 10 minutes of just remembering Joel, you know, and this is Ellie's a kind of like safe haven from the whole thing. I was like, you work away, Naughty Dog. You do whatever you want to do. You know, I will sit here and listen a full set. You know, she wants to do a full set. You know, I'm down for that. Yeah. What did you think of the whole guitar playing in the game, by the way?
Initially, the first time it happened, I was like, this is like fine, bit pointless, you know, whatever. I could have been pushing buttons, or I could have just been letting her do it. It doesn't really make a difference to me. By the end of the game, because they kind of tie it in at certain junctures, and obviously because we'll talk about the ending in detail later, but like specifically because at the end of the game, it's changed the mechanic of playing the guitar.
Yeah.
The mechanic hasn't changed, but
yes,
something has changed. That paid off eventually for me.
Yeah.
So initially I was kind of like, this is pointless, whatever. But by the end I was like, I see why they made us do that, because now we're like an active participant in this activity of playing the guitar, and by the end of the game,
the first I seen it, I thought, this is just like another kind of gimmicky touchpad, kind of, thing to
we have a touchpad. We better use it somehow.
But did you ever pick up the guitar just on your own, where you could practice the guitar?
No.
So when you pick it up, you can literally, it's just like a blank guitar, and you have all the different chords, and you can literally play, like if I knew music, I could play a song. I don't.
Just play a guitar.
But there's videos emerging all over YouTube of like people who have actually played full on like guitar covers of songs as Ellie in The Last of Us, which I think is class. I just thought like,
pretty cool.
That's a pretty, yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, the downtown open area, fantastic. Making your way to the TV station, you get your map, which obviously plays a big part. And you're going after, isn't it like fuel for the generators to open the big fuck Fedra gate?
Yes. You're going to the hotel. You're trying to get to the Safara or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I honestly thought the game as a whole was going to be like that, and it kind of bit me a little bit whenever that ended, and we moved on to the more familiar Last of Us kind of
linear areas.
Yeah, but even the linear areas had like a little, there was a lot more options about approaching
definitely.
it. Which I kind of found was like double-edged, in that I liked the fact that there was options, but being the type of person who likes to like check every area out, I was taking one option, backtracking, and taking the other option, so I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Overall, like I thought, like the level design, particularly this open area part, was like way better than the first game.
I don't know if you've looked and seen the just the sheer volume of like collectibles and things that are present in this game, but like there is some serious exploration to be had in this game. I thought going through, I was like, I've picked up a good 50% of collectibles here. I haven't even scratched the surface, man. There's like hundreds of trading cards, and there's like artifacts and just little bits and pieces that you pick up, little
bits and pieces.
Yeah, just like little like tokens and things that like explain the story of the people who were obviously living there before the outbreak.
I have to say that's another one of my favorite parts of the game, was like I was like actively scouring for little like notes.
Yeah,
because just I loved like the backstories. Each little area had extra little bit of backstory about just like a group of people who were trying to survive, and they had to do this and that, and got betrayed, and then you eventually stumbled upon bodies or like remnants of those people. Yeah, it was just really, really cool.
Yeah, I had in this first day before we move on to day 2, I had this moment where it's like an optional kind of, not an optional, but like there's like an apartment building that you can search, and you have to break windows and use the rope mechanic, to get in through the windows to just kind of search these buildings. And I moved into one, don't know if you did it, and it was like an apartment, and Ali makes the comment saying, there's so much supplies around here. It's like this place hasn't been raided or used or something like that. And there's a door that's locked in the building, but there's a workbench just down in like another room. And as soon as you go to use the workbench, that door opens, and there's like a group of like, did you get that? Yeah. It's like a group of 3 or 4 break out and just attack you. I shit myself so bad at that. But I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was so good.
That was brilliant.
There was like just these people just hiding up in this apartment, and so good.
The brilliant part about that as well is like you get attacked, and I was so annoyed because they were so intent on killing me.
Yeah.
And there was no way to like talk to them, because it turns out that they were like wolf runaways. Like they weren't. They thought that you were the same people that you were running from, and you wind up killing each other just because of
that's right. They were disbanded from that WLF. Yeah.
What do you think of the WLF as a faction?
I didn't. Well, I enjoyed. Obviously, we'll get to it, but their kind of whole home base and everything like that. I enjoyed. I didn't enjoy what they were doing as like a faction. Okay. I didn't enjoy kind of Isaac's rule over them. I didn't enjoy that they were against these Scars or these Seraphites.
Now the Scars and Seraphites, we'll talk about it later as well.
Yes,
but I much preferred their little faction.
Oh yes, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
I agree with you actually a lot there. I think like the motivations behind them are a little just stupid.
Just kind of yeah,
like,
it's just
I think
yeah.
all their motivation is, oh, we have to go and kill all of these Seraphits. Definitely,
yeah, exactly. It's like why? You know what I mean?
They're never, like, oh no, there was a truce, but it didn't work, so we're just gonna have to kill all of them. I think probably is the best thing.
Yeah.
You're like, it's just they just seem so like at like a personal level. Then there's like all of the encounters that you have. They seem just like baddies.
Do you mean is this with the WLF or with the Seraphites?
With the WLF?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
They try and there's a lot said about how they do try to humanize the people you kill because they're like cry out for each other's names and
that's it.
They're talking.
That's something I wanted to touch on. That is so good in this game. Like, look, you can't kill like one person without like somebody else like saying, "Oh shit, like Jacob's dead," and next thing like a swarm of them run over to the body, and they're so amped up. Then they're it's almost like they get more aggressive towards you, and they just fan out again, and that's it. Like I love the combat in this game. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really good.
I think I agree. I think like it definitely helped to humanize them. But as a whole, whenever I encountered the WLF, the wolves, I was just like kind of, they're just gonna kill me. Like I've got no reason to feel bad about killing these people because if they've seen me, they'd just fucking wreck me.
They would wreck you. Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not like whenever you're playing other stealth games, you're like, this poor soldier doesn't even know what he's doing. I'm just gonna kill him to get past.
No. Yeah, these people were just kind of hell bent on. You kind of hear it as well as you're progressing through the story. These WLF are receiving orders from Isaac or whoever, and it's just saying any trespasser, just kill them. That's it. That's it. Kill everybody. But yeah, we move on into to day 2. Stop me if I'm kind of forgetting anything, or before we do. Sorry. Yeah. You
were talking a little bit about the combat there. I thought maybe we could.
Yes. Let's talk about the combat. Yeah, before I go into the next kind of piece. No, actually, do you mind holding off on the combat because I want to discuss something first, and the combat will fit into my next point.
Yeah.
One of the first flashbacks we get at the end of day 1 is Ellie's birthday.
My favorite part of the game.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm seeing that everywhere. Like people fucking love, and it's so easy to see why. It's so good. It's so fucking good.
It's like they just talk. It's like the first game concentrated down into like 20 minutes or half an hour or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so good.
So good. Joel taking her on that kind of birthday trip to the museum. There's the the learning how to swim kind of aspect. Not really. Joel just pushes her into the water.
Look.
Yeah. Then you have the whole putting hats on dinosaurs thing, which was just fantastic. And the
space shuttle thing.
The amount of references to Jurassic Park and like little kind of pop culture references. The space shuttle was unbelievable. It was just incredible. And you kind of seen that kind of more fatherly side of Joel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You could feel that he did have a daughter previous to all this, and it kind of shows in like his mannerisms and the way he's acting with Ellie and asking, did I do good? It's your birthday, all this. He has a present for her,
Mm-hmm.
And that space shuttle scene, just unbelievable.
Just terrific. Like the whole segment.
Yeah.
And I think they did it really well by the method of flashbacks that they did.
Yeah.
Really worked. Like it really hit the mark for me. I thought it was done well because that scene in that context was way more impactful than if it was done like chronologically. So that happened before the events, like the main events of this game.
Yeah.
It's way harder to home when you know what has happened to Joel. That he's now dead and these are the memories she has of him. It's like fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it. And then it kind of finishes off almost on like a sour note when you're moving through the building and the big Firefly emblem.
Yeah.
And it just says
I kind of like that. Because it
brings it back home.
The first game was.
Yeah.
It's like it's happy and it's good, but we're still living in a dark world where shit happens. And
incredible. Day 2, because it was arguably my favorite like combat piece in the entire game, was Hillcrest, when you move into like that kind of town where you first encounter the dogs, all the grass, and then you get like this like verticality. Like with the beforehand, like in The Last of Us, you kind of had like a kind of big open area, and there was like there was just enemies moving about in the area, and now you had to contend with like several levels of hill crests. There was enemies up here, down below. There was like basement areas here, and the enemies were just fucking everywhere. The dogs were brought into it, which just heightened everything.
Dogs are fucking impossible.
Exactly, and that's when I first kind of realized, holy shit, this game's combat is. I love this. I love everything about this. You just acquire the bow and arrow as well at that point, and I just had so much fun in that area.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually remember that area that well. But yeah, like speaking on the combat in general, it was like every time there was an encounter, I was just like, this is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
And like it tread that line between survival horror. You have resources to fight this battle, and you have enough, just enough. Yeah. But you never were going in thinking.
Did you play the game? Sorry, just on the normal difficulty.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah.
One was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that for me it was a perfect like tightline act. Like I was constantly on just making it.
Did you ever find yourself just going into an area like that and just thinking, I'm going to go hell for leather here, all guns blazing, or did you play it more of like a stealth style, or how did you play it?
Yeah, I try always to play it stealthy, but very quickly into the game realized that I adapted the attitude that I'm going to try being stealthy, but I'm not going to be successful. So let's just get as far as we can before they fucking catch me, and try and get me so that I can just maybe take out one or two and run for the door.
That's
kind of situation.
Yeah, like there were a couple of like encounters where I had to do that, where I bolted. I knew I had to get like to like a back right hand corner, and I tried for it. A majority of the time when you're up against enemies like that, you get to a door that it takes you like a couple of seconds to get through.
Yeah.
And that was just sending my blood pressure through the fucking roof at that point,
I think it's like a brilliant way. I mean, okay, you may say like from a gameplay perspective, it might feel like a little whatever, like cheaty. I'm just going to run past all these enemies.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, it made me feel like if I was in that situation,
real life situation, you're
going to run for it.
Like, yeah, of course, yeah. Play the game as if you're actually in it. Yeah,
I thought that was really good. And I never approached an area where I was like, apart from one.
Yes.
And we'll talk about it.
Yes.
Apart from one, there was no area where I was like, I'm going to kill all of these people.
Yeah.
I was just like, get me through here. Don't let me get caught, because you have enough health in the normal mode anyway, where if you get shot at, like you have enough time to do a bit of a fight. It's not like kind of once you're caught, you're dead or we'll restart.
Yeah.
It's like kind of, I can't just like stand here and die. I'm going to have to try and continue. So I'm going to be using bullets. I'm going to have to use health. I'm going to have to use resources, which sucks because I don't have a lot of them. So.
Exactly. Yeah. I was always kind of thinking to myself, because there are several kind of like boss fights in the game, and after I had encountered like the first one, which I think was either like one of those like WLF that were like carrying around like a big sledgehammer or something that was a bit harder to kill, or it could have been like a rambler or something for the first time. And I was thinking, I need to save my resources for these guys. And like that, when I came into a big room filled with enemies, I was like, okay, well, I want to save my resources, so we're gonna go stealth at this and see what happens. But in hindsight, there are plenty of resources to collect. Enemies do tend to drop you a decent bit of ammo.
It always keeps you going, so like you're not gonna be. Like, there was only one time in the game, and it was very late. It was very late on in the game. Like it was literally the very last level, where I was like, I don't have enough. I don't have any health. I don't have any bullets. I couldn't find a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, in the next encounter, I'm gonna die. Like, there's no way about it.
Yeah.
As it happened, that was the last encounter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they must have just done it perfectly.
Yeah. Basically, the entire second day as Ellie, you're moving through Hillcrest to the hospital in search of Nora, which is like the second kind of WLF member that you're going after.
Your second lead.
Yes, because on the way, obviously, that guy catches you when your horse gets killed, and
Dina
comes to the rescue in day one. What did you think of that, by the way?
the horse getting killed? Or?
Obviously the horse getting killed, and then the whole Dina coming to the rescue, and that's how you kind of take out one of the WLF guys being tied up.
I thought it was pretty good. I liked the like the freeing part, like getting free of that situation, like while Dina was being pummeled on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of thought to myself at one point that's where that Dina could have died there, because I was thinking this WLF guys, you know, these guys don't fuck about, and if they're good enough to take down my horse and tie Ellie up, like Dina's got no chance here. So I was thinking maybe okay. But as you know, she was pretty.
Was there something said though that because Ellie was tied up, they were kind of like, let's do this in front of her. Like, let's not just kill Dina. Let's like hurt her. And
the two guys that were there, one of them was making the argument for torturing her, and the other one was saying, you know, Isaac has said we need to kill all trespassers, and it was their kind of argument that kind of bought Ellie a bit of time, and that's when Dina showed up, kind of to the rescue. But I enjoyed that, yeah. That was the first kind of WLF member, and then you're making your way, and Leah, obviously, who was dead at the TV station. But your first kind of contract, if you like, was Nora at the hospital. And just getting into the hospital, like that took my resources. I crafted, I don't know how many timed explosives, and just lured them one at a time out through the hospital doors. Boom. Next guy out through the hospital doors, and it was just a process. I tried first of all to kind of run through, but I couldn't find where I was going, and I was just running in circles. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to take these guys on. But I loved it, and finally getting to Nora was fantastic.
Getting some answers.
Yeah.
The scene immediately after that was harrowing.
Remind me.
So, well, actually, okay. Let's first of all. The scene when we finally get to Nora, the circumstances we get her in is that we basically drag her down into the spores.
Yeah,
so obviously we're immune.
That's right.
So it doesn't bother her. So she's got like an immediate death sentence after that.
Yeah.
Well, all of the WF members come down to try and catch us in this like red lit room.
Yes. And you kind of
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and you can kind of call upon the clickers to almost aid you in the fight. I love that. It was like
I used one thing in that fight, and it was a bottle.
A bottle to lure the clickers.
And I just threw it, and the clickers came straight in.
Yeah.
And I just like snuck right the way through.
I love that because brilliant. It was almost like Ellie was in a way just one of these infected. You know, she couldn't be harmed by the spores. She was standing with no gas mask, and then like you say, a single bottle, and like these 3-4 armored dudes would just completely succumb to these infected while you creep around the back and out the door.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. That's right. You make your way down through like a subway, like a subway, like a tunnel line, isn't it? Like a subway.
Something like that, yeah. We eventually track down Nora and then apparently do some unspeakable things.
Yes. What did you think of that? What did you think of the way she met her, the way they kind of told that little bit of the story, you know, always focused on Ellie's reaction to bludgeoning Nora to death with a bar or bat.
And basically putting her on the point of so much pain that she revealed her soul to her friends. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that I didn't think Ellie would do that. Although you could see hints of it. You could see hints of it in the build up to this. Like she suggested she was willing to do that.
With it. Yes, that's right. But
to basically torture somebody.
This is the thing as well. We see afterwards that Ellie is obviously. You go back to the theater after beating Nora, and Ellie's very shook up. You see her hand shaking, and she's kind of, she's a bit all over the place. And then it was actually a different review of the game I heard this in, but it made sense to me. And they were saying that, Ellie has just fought her way, blowing people up left, right, and center. What kind of made, Nora, the kind of person that was giving her all this bother, why did that affect her so much when she literally was gunning down and knifing people
slicing
all over
people's throats, etc. Yeah, I think that's something like in games we have to kind of
accept,
deal with. Yeah. I mean, how many times have you been? Maybe not that many times, but in video games, it's kind of a thing. You'll kill 100 people to get to the main baddie, and then you're given the choice to spare their life, and you're kind of like, you know what? I will spare his life.
Yeah. You're only after slaughtering 100 people to get there. I get that. I
think as well, another reason is because you can kill a nameless person who's like going
True.
to kill you, you know, it's kind of fair. You know what I mean? They have a gun, you have a knife.
Yeah.
So it's fight or flight. It's in the moment. This woman was already dead, and you had the child. You know, you essentially you used that, you leveraged that.
Yeah.
Put her in extreme pain in order to extract information. So
I thought you were going to say there, you know, you kind of put her out of her misery, and I was like, that's a terrible way to go out. You know, she could have just put a bullet through her brain.
She did not put her out of her misery. She inflicted a lot of intentional misery. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed that, and I also enjoyed it. I meant to touch on that, the fact that you were kind of using that theater as kind of like your base of operations. I enjoyed that you were kind of coming back to the theater all the time and heading out then on your kind of missions.
My one major issue with the theater, was whenever Ellie put the power on and lit up the entire place.
Yeah.
As soon as you walk outside, you see these big bright
lights,
windows all lit up, and I'm like,
now showing. Come on.
Like,
yeah, I know. Not very subtle at all. You could have lit a fire and it would have been more subtle. You know what I mean? You know, just a bit of smoke.
It just annoyed me that it's like kind of the WLF are apparently everywhere.
But it's all right, Dee, because she put a chair against the door, or in the door to barricade.
They're never getting through that.
Exactly, they're safe.
Never getting through that.
You idiots. Day 3 then obviously brings you to the aquarium, which I thought was bloody brilliant. You know, making your way down that coast, and it's rough and it's stormy and it sets the tone. It's somber, it's bleak, and Ellie is just you know, there's lightning and Ellie is just kind of hell-bent on.
We have to talk about, I forget even at what point, but
what have I missed?
Sorry, Jesse shows up.
That's right. Yeah, yes.
At Hillcrest.
Hillcrest, that's right. Yeah, he does indeed. That's right. He shows up at Hillcrest and kind of basically saves you.
Saves your ass.
At Hillcrest, that's right. And you get the vehicle. Make your way out of Hillcrest. That's right. I forgot about that, actually. Yeah, the unsung hero that Jesse was.
Yeah. The reason we proceed to the hospital without him is because he's tired. And Ellie's like, great opportunity for me to go off my own here.
Yeah,
didn't make much sense either. But
don't give him like an hour's rest or anything. Just fuck off on your own. Yeah, I know. Obviously,
he goes with her then to the plans to go with her to the aquarium.
Yes, that's right. And you have to make your way to get a boat, not right, to the aquarium, and that's when you kind of part ways, because he wants to go and make sure that Tommy. The whole kind of you chasing these leads as well is that Tommy is always kind of one step ahead of you, and you're always chasing him. And he wants to, at this point, make sure that Tommy is okay. And get Tommy.
you hear like some WLF.
That's right. Activity. Yeah, that's a really important part. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and at that point, when they go their separate ways, I remember thinking, hang on a second here, Ellie's been a bit of a, you know, like she's willing to put her friends' lives kind of at risk here in pursuit of this kind of revenge quest. And I was kind of like, it wasn't like the turning point of Ellie for me, but I definitely felt, you know, I was kind of like, you know, you're going to get your comeuppance here, and I'm kind of totally okay with that, you know?
I think, it was really telling as well that she was, the reason that the decision they had made prior to this, before going to the aquarium, was not, let's go kill Abby. It was, we have to go get Tommy and bring him home before he dies.
Yes.
And whereas the logic was that we know that Abby's at the aquarium, so that's probably where he's going to be headed.
Yes.
So whenever they hear that he's not at the aquarium, he's on a bridge with a sniper, or there's someone on a bridge with a sniper, Jesse makes the obvious decision, is like, oh no, Tommy's over here, we got to go get him.
Yeah.
And that's when Ellie makes the decision, no, I'm going to the aquarium. That's the real reason that we're here, is that we have to go get Abby.
Tommy will be okay. Tommy will be fine, I think were her words or something. But we have to get Abby. I just remember thinking at that point, like, Jesus, like, she is, you know, nothing is going to stop this girl, you know.
Driven by rage, man.
Driven by rage, yeah. Can you bear with me 1 second? It's just, I see my picture's getting a bit dark. I just want to flick on a light here. Oh, well, that's much better.
Much better. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Illuminating.
The power of light. So yeah, the aquarium. We make our way to the aquarium, obviously, as Ellie, and infiltrate it, taking out the dog, first of all.
A dog. Yes, a dog. We don't know.
That we have no connections to whatsoever at this point. And we find in the aquarium then Owen and Mel.
No, yeah. But we don't really know that well, apart from the fact that she's pregnant. That's all we know.
Yeah, and she was obviously one of the original. Do we know that she was? Yeah.
We know that she's pregnant, and she was there with Abby and Owen when they killed Joe. Yeah. Now, the reason we know that she's pregnant isn't from playing as Ellie; it's when we play as Abby. So
that's right.
Ellie doesn't know that she's pregnant.
That's right. Just so that's right. Yeah. And there's the confrontation then between Ellie, Owen, and Mel, which obviously ended terribly for Owen and Mel.
Yes.
Ellie blasts Owen away, fights with Mel, shoots her. No, knives her in the.
Yeah. I think what happened is it's important to note all of the
details. Of course. Yeah.
Because it wasn't just a gunning down. Okay, it wasn't her fault.
Well, that's I guess that's true.
So he tries to leverage the fact that she can sense that these are a couple, and I think does she put a knife or a gun to Mel and asks her to point out where Abby is?
That's right.
And she's going to do that trick where she asks Owen to say the same, and if they don't agree, then
that she had previously touched on in the hotel when she taught Dina about this technique that Joel had taught her, which we see in the first game, and now that Tommy obviously used on WLF members in that hotel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, in whilst threatening Mel, Owen makes a go for the gun, and she shoots him. Mm-hmm. And then, is that what happens?
Yes, yeah. She shoots him, and Mel is still very much alive at this point. I think Mel then goes for her, and they kind of have it out with a knife, or Ellie straight up sticks a knife in her throat. It's something.
She comes at her with a knife, and then Ellie overpowers her and puts a knife in her throat.
Yes,
kills her.
But Owen, who's still, with his last couple of breaths on the floor, manages to tell Ellie. I think you just hear the word pregnant, and Ellie makes her way over to Mel and kind of pulls on her coat,
sees the bump,
and there's a massive bump, and you're like, oh Jesus. That was pretty dark. That was pretty grim.
She breaks down at that point and kind of.
Yeah, you kind of see a more human side.
Check.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a more a human side to Ellie, seeing that she was still affected by what she was doing.
She had been, she'd been driven by rage all the way here, and it took something like that to make her see, like, you're killing a lot of people.
Yeah.
Who aren't Abby, by the way.
No. From that, then we get one of my favorite cutscenes in the game. We're back at the hotel. We have Ellie back. We have Dina, Jesse, and Tommy. The gang's all there. They're all ready to go home. Tommy's explained that he picked up a chain or a bracelet, some kind of gold for Maria, and he takes off to get it to show Jesse. Jesse and Ellie are talking like at the stage, I think it is, over a map. Dean is out back, still sleeping because she's not well because she's pregnant.
Yeah, we missed that part as well. She's also pregnant.
Yeah, there's a lot of pregnancy in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of life.
I was about to say, like, at this point you're already starting to see some of the similarities between
the two stories.
Yeah, because you can already see, Abby has a pregnant friend. I have a pregnant friend, and Abby lost a. Well, let's not speak of that. Do we know that yet? No. Abby lost somebody. We lost somebody.
Yeah.
A cookie.
What have you got? Hello, Laura. What have you got?
You got a cookie?
Yeah.
A white chocolate?
Chris, we get some of you here.
For those of you just listening to the audio of this, Dee has just received a gift in the form of a cookie. That did look quite good.
Yeah,
it gets a thumbs up.
Does it get
the... It gets a 2 thumbs up.
Oh, 2 thumbs up. Seal of approval from Dee. Jesus. Wow.
That's good. Chris, have you took out any baking over the coronavirus?
Baking? No.
Everyone has one.
My sister has. My sister has, which is good. Because she's also vegan, so she's been baking a lot of vegan treats. It suits me well.
Works for you.
Have you done a lot of baking?
We've done a little. I made a couple of pizzas.
How are they?
That was my big thing. Oh, they were lovely.
Good.
Everyone make your own pizzas. It's so good. Yeah. Laura has done a lot of, I say baking, it's mainly cookies and brownies and Snacker Jacks, is that what they're called? They're
What's not to like about unbelievable.
It's awesome. It's amazing. I'm just like, all the baking has been stuff that has just been like, my wasteland's furious.
Yeah.
It's completely miraculous, but it's been delicious.
Excellent.
What can I say?
I know. I mean, what else is there to do? You know, you just got to bake. Make some cookies. Sorry, getting back then to the cutscene in the theater.
Oh.
We kind of hear a bit of commotion outside where Tommy was coming from. So Ellie and Jesse make their way out through the doors. But Jesse is abruptly stopped with a fucking gunshot to the head, a bullet to the head, which was just
like that.
Don't even like he was just 1 minute he's in the story, the next minute he's gone.
And also the repercussions of that is the fact that he's, you started to like him, right?
Yep.
You really liked him. He was just talking about how he can't wait to get home and tell his mother about the fact that Dina is pregnant with his child.
Yep. And
just like that, he's dead.
He's dead.
That's it.
Just lying on the floor. And Ellie's been shot at, and Tommy is now being held at gunpoint on the floor by none other than Abby. And somebody with her with a bow and arrow, like a skinhead with a bow and arrow.
Did we see them with the bow and arrow?
Initially? I can't remember if you see them initially.
Yeah. Maybe I couldn't remember them the first time because I was shocked. Like I was shocked whenever they were there. The second time.
Yeah. But by far one of my favorite lines in the entire game was when Abby has Ellie at gunpoint and says, "I give you a chance and you wasted it." And that was it. We cut the black, and that's like kind of like.
No, because the line is because Ellie.
What is the line?
Ellie kind of sees that she's in a bad state, and she just puts her hands up and is like, "Look, it's me. I'm the one you want. I'm the girl I'm the girl with the cure.
Yeah.
I'm the one that you want."
Yeah.
Because she thinks that she. Okay, another important distinction is that we've just had the flashback where Ellie. It is revealed that about 2 years prior to this, or maybe 1 year prior to this, Ellie found out the truth about what happened at St. Mary's Hospital.
That was a fantastic flashback.
That was intense.
And her, she tells Joel that she'll never forgive him, that she'll come back to Jackson, but she'll never forgive him for keeping the truth from her. Yeah.
And basically, that's how things are left, or as far as we know, that's how things are left between Joel and Ellie, right up until the point that he dies. She never forgive him for that.
Yeah.
But at this point, she then assumes that the reason that Abby's after her. Also, she played coy with Dina earlier in the game, where Dina was like, "Why would someone kill Joel?" Yeah. And he's like, he crossed a lot of people, but she knows rightly it's because of St. Mary's. So she assumes that this girl was there at St. Mary's and was part of the group with Fireflies that Joel killed.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm what you want. That's what you've been looking for, right? It's me. Yeah. I'm the cure. And Abby's just like, doesn't give a fuck. She's just, you killed my friends.
Yeah. That's right.
And then it cuts to black.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Chris,
it's a fantastic scene. I love that scene. And then this is the point where, from what I've read from reviews, a lot of people just went, "Nah, fuck this." We seen. I don't know if you've seen. I think it was PewDiePie's reaction kind of went viral on the whole thing on YouTube. But at this point, it pops up Seattle. No, we go back to a flashback first of all of young Abby. Young Abby. And that, I think that's fantastic. This is, again, another unbelievable feat in character development and storytelling throughout this game. We go back, we see Abby as kind of, like a 14, 15-year-old girl. She's out on like a hunting trip with, not a hunting trip, but she's out with her dad, kind of exploring. I don't know if that's what you call it. And they save a zebra in like a zoo, and Owen shows up, and I never copped on that Owen was calling him Doc at the start, and no, it never registered with me. And when they kind of all come together, and Owen says, "Listen, they've brought the girl in," Jesus Christy, like that was like that was like a moment? yeah for me 100%. I was like, holy shit, I know where this is going. And all of a sudden I didn't hate Abby as much anymore. You know?
See, yeah, right. This okay. Immediately, I was like, whenever it went to the flashback, I was like, all right, here we go. Oh, Abby's got a daddy. Oh, yeah, okay. We're supposed to be humanized. She's a person too. And I was like, that's what I meant. I said, I guess I can go. We can already see parallels between Abby and Ellie. It's like, oh, yeah, she's got a dad, and I knew that she lost him at St. Mary's, or I thought I knew.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that complete confirmation, but I was like, she's also got friends. She's got a pregnant friend, and all these people who support her, and now they're all dead. I was already empathizing a little bit with Abby.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever it gave us that flashback, I was like, all right, they're going to humanize her now for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the for a bit part that
yeah.
I was wrong about.
Yeah. And after that whole kind of flashback scene, we get the Seattle day one pop up again. And the whole pace of the game is just completely destroyed at this point. Like, we were building and building. We had just acquired everything we needed. We were on the hunt for this WLF. We were getting somewhere. People were dying. And then, boom, we're just thrown right back to day one again.
Day one.
Take off as Abby. And this is now the start of Abby's 3 days of hell, of the story. Yeah, of Seattle. The first time I started playing as Abby day one, I just did not give a fuck. Yeah. Did you feel the same? Yeah.
Yeah. I basically was like, okay, I have to play as Abby for a bit now. And I was kind of going, right, you're going to humanize her. Yeah. You're going to be like, look at all the friends she has. She's not an evil person. She's just living her life. I was like, that's fine. You can do all that. But I was like, I hope we don't have to play as her for too long. Yeah. In my back of my mind, I was thinking, I was concerned by the fact that it said day one. That was the first clip. Yeah. But I said it to Laura as well, and she was like, I don't know, maybe we'll look it up and see how long you have to play as her. Yeah. And then that's the only thing I looked up when I was playing the game was how long was it? And it was like, yeah, roughly 13 hours. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I've just put 13, yeah. Yeah,
that sunk me so hard, man.
Yeah, it was I didn't look it up, but I knew when day one came up, I just clicked. I was like, okay, we got 3 days to go here, and I get what a lot of the criticism was about, and I do think that parts of it maybe could have been shortened down slightly. A lot of that first day as Abby, I didn't care for at all. The second day, I thoroughly enjoyed, and the third day, I thoroughly enjoyed as Abby.
As you said, like it sunk the momentum. Like
the whole, the pace, the pace was gone out of the game, and it was something that
I'm not opposed to the fact that we play as Abby because, as you say, day 2, day 3, like that's actually some of the
best storytelling in the game,
best parts of the game.
Yes,
for me, day 3 with Abby is probably the best. For different reasons, it's the best set piece, absolutely.
Yeah.
But best story as well. Like
day 2,
day 3.
Yeah.
There's more other specific parts I enjoy from the first part of the game, like the open world area and the flashback with Ellie.
Yeah. I didn't think that they would humanize Abby just as much or as well as they did. And they did it phenomenally through the use of obviously other characters coming into the game.
Exactly.
And it was unbelievable.
I think my main criticism was the fact that the way that they executed it hurt.
Yeah.
Basically everyone who played the game for the first 2 hours, maybe the first day, essentially.
Yeah.
That adjustment was so hard to take, man. So hard to swallow.
When my brother was playing it and day one popped up and he started playing as Abby, he kind of just shook his head and looked at me. He was just completely deflated and he was like, just tell me now, do I have to play 3 days as Abby? And I had it in my head to just say, just play and you'll find out. But I went, yes, but trust me, it's some of the best gaming you'll do in this game. And he didn't believe me. And obviously by the end of the 3 days, he was like, oh my God, we'll get to that. But day one as Abby kind of sails by. You kind of do a lot of exploring. You meet the WLF, their kind of barracks. You talk to Isaac, I think, in day one. You find out who this Isaac character is. And you find out, you have a couple of flashbacks with Owen. You realize that Abby and Owen were a couple, which makes the whole thing 10 times more awkward. The fact that, he's having a baby with, it's almost like a perfect, like a mirrored image of Dina, Jesse, and Ellie, and exactly. It's a perfect.
I mean, in some ways, it was a little on the nose for me. Like there was parts where I was
how similar.
I was like, okay, like, there's a thing called subtlety. Like, you don't just have to make it in the exact same situation.
Yeah, okay.
And there was points where I was kind of like, they could have been a little bit,
Yeah.
It felt like they were really pushing. Look at Abby. She's a regular person and she's good and she's got lots of friends.
Can we also talk about just how fucking built Abby is? That kind of threw me off a bit when we first met her. Holy shit.
My biggest issue with the whole fact that Abby is an absolute
unit
ox, right, is that they didn't seem to be talking about it. Like, no one seemed to address
nobody
it
bat an eyelid. Yeah, she was just like a front runner for the WLF, and that was it.
That's just a regular. That's just a normal girl.
What I kind of expected, and I didn't get was, and it comes back to the pacing as well. Is even as Abby, you kind of had to learn your skills all over again, which I thought was a bit of a kick in the teeth, because Abby is this like much bigger character. She seems much more adept and able to survive than Ellie. So I kind of thought that, had she come with all these kind of things built into her, we could have been like, okay, kind of the way Joel was, in the first game. Joel was like a much stronger kind of person to play as.
Never even mind that. It's the fact that I spent the last 15 hours building my character
progressing Ellie
as Ellie. I lost all of that.
Yeah,
I was back to the base weapons. I was no upgrades. I had no, character progression. That annoyed me a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But, thankfully, I think it's a little bit quicker. Like you get more weapons quicker.
Yes,
and you get more.
I mean, you get a rifle straight off the start, which turned into one of my favorite weapons, and the crossbow, which was awesome as well.
Crossbow's good, yeah.
But we make our way through day one, and again, it kind of the similarities here in that Ellie had the theater as her kind of base of operations, and we quickly come to learn that Abby's is going to be the aquarium as like her base of operation, which I loved, by the way. The aquarium was brilliant. See, when they did that Christmas scene in the aquarium, I thought that was unbelievable.
It looked so good.
It looked fantastic. Yeah. Day two though is where it really picks up for Abby, because isn't this the day where she meets well, actually, sorry, Ellie would have met the Seraphites first, the Scars first, right at the end of like her day 3.
Who are like the cultists, crazed
they
people.
Terrified me when you first encountered them. When Ellie gets the arrow shot, the whistling. That was.
They're freaky, man.
So Abby eventually gets captured by these people, and it's looking like she's going to be strung up. It was the scene that we seen from E3 like years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's strung up basically and going to die, and these two kind of kids come to the rescue. And the whole clip her wings with Yara, where they completely destroy Yara's arm, was just
the hammer.
Just gruesome. Just
so gruesome.
Just so. It's gruesome, but at the same time, likewise with Joel, it's real. You know what I mean? It's like not real as in, oh god, that looks realistic, but real as in that's just the form of punishment that you're going to get here, And
so fucking grim.
That kind of first encounter that you have, the three of you, Yara, Lev, and Abby, with the burning car and the stalkers coming at you from the forest, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. That light just coming from the car and just darkness all around you was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. And you start to, not right then, but Abby almost takes like a personal
a liking,
a responsibility to protect these kids. And I thought it was brilliant.
One comment that I read online, and I thought it was really good, is that the second half of The Last of Us 2 is basically The Last of Us 1, where you're a rugged soldier type character who develops this bond with a younger child.
Yeah,
and it like completely
right enough
changes your perspective and humanizes you and whatnot.
Yeah,
and like
that's a good way.
The Last of Us 1
is
phenomenal. So is like those parts of playing as Abby are really really great, and those characters, Yara and Lev, those two characters are awesome.
Yeah, I forget if
completely invested in them.
Yes, so the second day, then you decide as Abby that you're gonna care for this girl who's had her arm mashed. So you take her back to the aquarium, which inevitably sets you and Lev off on this journey to the hospital to get supplies, so that the surgery can take place on this girl's arm, which brings you to, you know, you're kind of following Lev through the world, through Seattle, and you're going to use these bridges that they use to the hospital, which unbelievable as well. And through this whole journey to the hospital, you find out so much backstory about Lev, about why he was kicked out of the Seraphites, why they were running in the first place. Lev was actually a girl, a female, shaved her head because she didn't want that part of that cult. She was down as, you know, to become a wife,
elder's wife
to one of the
13.
At 13. This cult is clearly just fucked up, and Lev shaves her head and basically disbands them from. They're wanted, basically, aren't they?
Yeah, they're called. He's called the.
It's like the
apostate.
Apostate, yeah, yeah.
So they're basically wanted, and like they basically shoot at him. They shoot at you for being with them.
Yeah. So there's that whole story revolving around Lev, and the whole Abby coming to grips with calling them Seraphites rather than Scars, I thought was great as well. Making your way to that, you enter, don't you fall into like a hotel? Isn't that a hotel you're in? You fall into the pool, and you got to make your way down through the hotel, which is like just swarming with infected.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I read some reviews saying that should have been completely cut, you know, way back, that it was poor pacing in the game. I enjoyed it. Going to find the gas mask for Lev and things like that. I really enjoyed it. It had me properly terrified.
That whole mission was good just because it was like that development of the bond between Abby and Lev.
Yeah.
Totally like necessary, I would argue.
And the fact as well that, like, at that point, Abby knew where she was going. Okay, so she knew that she was pretty close to the hospital at that point. And when she leaves to get Lev a gas mask, Lev says, "If you don't return or if you die, I'll be stuck here." And at that point, that you're kind of thinking, like, Abby doesn't even need this character anymore. You know, like she could get to the hospital, I think, by herself.
But I guess why would she go to the hospital by herself to get medicine to bring back for that character's sister?
True. Yeah, true. Actually, I didn't think of that, but it was just the fact that she was risking it all for these young kids. And it's the first that you encounter the flamethrower in the game as well, which I loved as a weapon. Like I used
so
that
useful too. The hospital then itself, like that whole
the hospital
sequence was fucking insane.
Yeah. What did you? So obviously, that is ground zero for the outbreak in Seattle, and terrifying. When you make your way down into like the ICU, the I forget the other two wings that you're in down there.
Yeah, the trauma unit and
unit. Yeah,
I think it's the ambulances or whatever.
That's incredible.
No,
it's so good.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot, making my way through, of a little bit Resident Evil like, mixed with like a hint of like Dead Space, walking around this creepy, dark kind of building, having to find a generator for power that you just knew as soon as you turned the generator on, all these doors that were shut are just going to pop open and we're screwed. And then it leads you to the biggest kind of boss fight in the game.
The Abomination or whatever it is.
The Rat King.
Yeah. Is that what it's called?
It's called the Rat King. I was looking through like the models and like the extras. It's called like the Rat King, which is just like an amalgamation of like infected have just fused together and formed this hideous fucking grotesque.
It was tough to take down, man.
I found it properly tough to take down. Died quite a bit. I actually found the secondary fight where you fight the like bit that breaks off it almost equally as hard.
Yeah, because it looks like a standard like clicker.
Yeah.
But you keep shooting at the head and it just keeps coming.
Yeah, it's like a clicker mixed with like a stalker mixed with like I don't know, something. It's throwing spores at you too, so it's got like that kind of bloater kind of feel about it. And it's
because it was a much smaller target, obviously, to try and take out.
Yeah, that's where I went ham with the flamethrower, just to stun it and then just lay waste with every round of like a rifle ammo I had on me. And it was such a good feeling taking that thing down. You get your supplies, and obviously before you do, your kind of paths intertwine with Nora, and you find out, that she kind of saves you because aren't you
you're wanted
you're
wanted
for the
at this
WLF,
point.
for going
because
AWOL.
exactly.
Because the WLF are about to launch like their biggest attack on these Seraphites on their island in like a day's time, and you're like one of like the lead runners, and you're not there.
You fucked off to Capone.
So you get your supplies, you get back to the hospital, the surgery takes place, Yara's arm is removed.
It's gone.
Yeah. And then that leads Lev on a journey back to his island. It's back to his island to their mother, because he wants to stay. Yeah. And then you're on your way back to the Seraphites Island with the WLF arriving to wager just an all-out war, and you're just this person just caught in the middle, which I fucking love.
Brilliant.
I loved everything about the island. I love the like backdrop. I love their villages. I loved moving through the villages. I loved everything. And then
some of my favorite South Parks as well was those villages.
Making your way through like the cornfields and things.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
You sneak your way past the Seraphites, and then you get to like another just like so grim sequence where you find out what's happened between Lev and his mother.
Yeah, that's
she
right.
Just wasn't she was just crazed and was was gonna kill him because he was because he shaved his head.
Yep, that's right. And it's immediately after that confrontation that you're on the run from the WLF, and Yara is then struck down. You have the confrontation.
Yeah,
with
this
Isaac.
is it. Like this whole next part was amazing because it's like I always love it whenever you're literally crawling past. Oh no, that's actually next, isn't it? Yeah, it's immediately after that Isaac, the leader of the WLF, stumbles upon you with these two scars.
Yeah, that's right. And Yara is shot down, and you are to answer to Isaac as to why you're actually there. And they're about to lay waste to you and Lev basically, and Yara with her last kind of breaths guns down Isaac. They completely riddle her with bullets on the floor.
Destroyed her.
And you and Lev just go on the run again, basically surrounded by these WLF.
And these Seraphites.
And the Seraphites.
Both trying to kill you.
Shit's completely hit the fan now. That fight in the warehouse was one of the times that I just went ham with my ammo. Immediately when you're on the run and you're, all the WLF are coming into that like kind of warehousey area. I first tried stealthing it, couldn't do it, and I just went, you know what, I'm hell for leather here. Like.
I think I wound up, I got to the door and then got caught trying to open it, and then that was it. I literally stood behind a pillar and took every last one of them out.
That's what I did as well. It's the scene though after when you make your way to Haven, it's called, for a boat to get you back to the aquarium, which is just incredible. Like
the whole city is burning because it's under attack.
Yeah,
you're on horseback.
Just charging your way through these fields. There's Seraphites firing at you. There's WLF firing at you. It reminded me a lot of Modern Warfare when the two factions are killing each other and you are just crawling your way through. Crazy, so good. And the fight then you have outside like the burning building with like the
whatever that thing is.
Yeah, and you're just fighting them and he just
will not go down.
Face and everything. That was an awesome fight. You get back to the aquarium, which was for me when I started playing as Abby, the point I wanted to get to, because I knew that she was somehow going to get to the theater, and that's where we left Ellie's story.
The stories converge,
You get back to the aquarium and you realize that the dog Alice has been killed, which Ellie killed. You find Owen and Mel brutally murdered, and the only remaining clue is Ellie's map that has fallen onto the floor.
I literally said whenever you seen that from Ellie's perspective, that the map dropped, and I was like, she dropped that fucking map. They're gonna find her because she dropped the map.
Yeah.
I was like, and you have to remember, like, Jesse and Tommy were there, and I was like, why did they not think to pick up that fucking map? Jesus Christ.
And
but,
that's what ultimately led Abby back to the theater, and you get to see it from Abby's perspective this time, which was awesome.
What did you think then? So the big showdown between Abby and Ellie happens from Abby's perspective.
Yeah.
The final
Yeah.
fight.
Just before we get to that, we see Tommy being gunned down as well. At that point, I was sure at that point. Okay, here we go. Tommy's dead, and this is it now. We're just the final fight is.
What I thought was going to happen when that happened is, Jesse's dead, Tommy's dead. They're going to go fight for a bit. Then they'll spot Dina, and the punishment for Ellie will be Dina dies.
Dina dies, yeah.
Pregnant Dina dies, and then Ellie has to live with the situation. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, and Ellie is almost ultimately brought this on herself for her, just with the rage that she carried. The showdown, I loved the fact that we played it from Abby's perspective, because at that point, I don't know if you played slightly longer as Abby or what it was, but I resonated so much more with Abby. I felt for her so much more. All her friends had then been killed. Don't get me wrong, Ellie lost a lot of people, and Ellie lost Joel. Okay, but Joel was a surrogate father to Ellie. Okay, and that's basically it. Abby lost her real father, and then she lost everyone that she ever cared about. Her friends, basically, the last band of her friends were all brutally murdered by this one girl, and now she has the chance to take her down. I was like, tables just completely flipped for me at that point. I was like, yes.
See, yeah. I think that's obviously the intention of why they did it, so you could see it that way. For me, I was kind of just like I was committed to the whole idea of like, it's a circle of death.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Ellie went out seeking. Right. Joel killed Abby's dad.
Yeah.
So Abby went seeking for justice. She killed Joel.
Yeah.
By doing that, she made Ellie go seeking for justice, who killed all of Abby's friends. So you could say that, Abby suffers because all her friends died, but you could also say, well, Abby's friends died because she sought out to kill Joel. And you can say, well, she only sought out to kill Joel because Joel
killed her
dad to save Ellie, and it's just a circle of perpetual death. So at that point I was like, hopefully one of the two are going to realize that it doesn't matter if you live or die.
Yeah.
Like, all of this has been brought on by our own actions.
I was sure in the showdown that Dina's time had come when Abby had her at knife point. I was like, this is it. And but for Lev being like a crucial part of that story there and then, ultimately made kind of Abby realize.
Yeah, I think, and that's why I think the person who said the second part of this game is basically The Last of Us 1.
Yeah,
it's so spot on, because the Abby before Lev and Yara would have just killed Dina.
Oh yeah,
and she would have almost been glad that she was pregnant too, because in some sick way it's even.
Yeah,
but because she had been through this with a Seraphite who is her enemy.
Yeah.
This kid who she'd come to like care for and responsible for.
Yeah.
They were completely innocent in this situation, and they were like more than happy to kill people, but whenever she was like, good, Dina's pregnant and she's got a knife, that's good. That was like the kind of like, you needed that perspective of this innocent to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then that just struck into her humanity, was like, I'm not gonna kill another person in this cycle of death.
Yeah.
Just to feel good, because I won't.
Yeah.
And let's just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was kind of, don't ever let me see you again, was kind of the tone that they left it on, and both Dina and Ellie both almost bleeding out on the floor, on the stage floor. I thought, okay, this is where we're going to end it. I thought we might have a bit after, but I thought this is where the story's going to end. And it didn't. And
no,
we suddenly jump into, at the start, what I thought was a seriously, seriously weird part of the game. You're looking, maybe like a year later, and Ellie and Dina and this baby, JJ, are living on a farm that they'd always talked about.
It was Dina's dream.
It's so surreal. It was like, as you said, like a dream, or maybe like their heaven is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And
I am convinced it was at all in Ellie's head as she lay there dying on the ground.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's what I thought was happening.
Yeah, their vision of what they always wanted. But it turns out it was very much real life. And
which makes the next part even harder to swallow.
You're struck with this, like Ellie having this PTSD of Joel dying.
I've seen him die in front of her,
And it's even more like intense when she's having like the flashbacks. You know, he's properly calling out for her, and she can't get into the door to get to him. And we go to the next cutscene, and Ellie comes back to the house, and there's a horse there. Now, I wasn't not expecting Tommy to be the owner of the horse.
To be alive.
Tommy has some serious armor when it comes to like the story. You know what I mean? Like he
plot
has
armor.
plot. That's it, plot armor. That's crazy because at first I was like, yes, you know, he's not dead.
Shot through the head.
And then I thought, like, how the fuck did he survive that? Like, you know,
He's a hardy boy.
He is, you know, he's a miller, so you know.
Uh-huh.
And he reveals then that a woman has been seen from feelers he put out, a heavy built woman with a kid with scars on her face, on their face. And I'm thinking this is going to set it up for like a cliffhanger ending, and maybe that's where the third game can go, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Yeah.
But no. We have this kind of heartbreaking moment where, you know, Ellie says she's done with the whole thing, and Tommy doesn't take that very well. And, you know, they have a life now, they have a family, you know, it's like it's wrapping up nicely. Everything that they wanted is here.
Yeah. There's actually, like, I mean, think of the specific scene where Ellie takes the kid out to the tractor to pick up the toy, and they're just sitting looking at the sunset. And that's, I was like, there's no way this is real life because it's too perfect. Like, this is too picturesque.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is literally the perfect outcome that you could possibly have hoped for. Exactly. But it's not enough, apparently.
No, it's Ellie obviously still can't let this go, and she's left with this. But we're left witnessing this kind of heartbreaking moment where it's just not enough for her to stay for Dina, and Dina kind of almost shrugs the whole thing off when they have the confrontation in the kitchen. She's like, you know, come on back to bed. We'll talk about this in the morning. And Ellie just nope. Like she is for leaving. She is for.
Her mind's made up.
Yeah, her mind has been made up, and you know that you're left with this. Oh, it's horrible, really. You know, like she just got to walk out on Dina and this child to go and again for this like revenge.
Mm-hmm. Which struck where it got you the first time.
Exactly, yeah. And I just thought, again at this point, I thought, Ellie, like you're a dick.
Yeah,
you know, you don't need to do this.
You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Like for me, I just kind of stopped buying it at that point. I was like, okay, we're gonna go do this game, and I just didn't see how or why Ellie would do that. Yeah. Particularly, and this is something I didn't think about until after I read this online, and it really resonated with me. Like one of those like life changing moments that you have in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone always says, is when you have a child.
Yeah.
Like it changes your perspective on things.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's so true. It's like she literally had like another like life to be responsible for now, but for some reason like that didn't affect her decision to go.
No.
She was
too not even cold blooded, but just hardwired to this revenge, to just seek this revenge. And maybe that came from, you know, maybe that was rub off from Joel, because we know Joel was like that as well in the first game. You know, very just you know, seeking this.
Just but for me, like from like kind of from having because we got excuse me, we got quite familiar with Ellie in the first game. Just didn't ring true that would happen. Like, no. I don't understand why. But I think for the purpose of the game and the story, like they wanted to show like this hit her too hard, and it's not something she could just get over. Yeah. Even though she'd done like so much to basically try and kill Abby the first time, and it hadn't worked out. I just anyway, I can see that they were going to go. This has to end in some way. Yeah.
And you know, we're next left to play as Abby as we start in Santa Barbara, which by the way was absolutely incredible. Like seeing like a completely different kind of area of America that had been affected by this outbreak. Santa Barbara was just a nice change of pace. It wasn't a city, and you know, I thought it was class. Who you get in contact with fireflies.
Which was her whole end goal, getting like finding a family.
And all of a sudden, she's attacked by this group called the Rattlers, and she's taken prisoner.
Her and Lev.
Her and Lev taken prisoner, and everything is just going horribly wrong then again. And Ellie is
again.
Ellie is then thrown into the story right behind that. She makes her way to the house that they were in, and she actually meets.
Gets caught.
Also gets caught.
Oh yeah.
Meets the Rattlers, kills the Rattlers after acquiring the information that she wanted to get as to where Abby would be held. And we set off on this journey, the short journey to this building where these Rattlers are keeping the prisoners. What did you think of that final kind of area when you get to like the round building, these Rattler group?
As like the encounter, I thought it was really tough.
Yeah.
It took me like several times to get through there.
Yeah.
And like that was the moment. That's what I spoke about earlier. I literally was on my very last. Like I was on about maybe 5% health. I had no weapons. I had a glass bottle. That's all I had.
Yeah.
And I was like, this next encounter after this, I am fucked.
You're dead.
But as it happened, that was the last.
That was the encounter. Yeah. I enjoyed it as well. There was a lot of enemies. That was one of the moments in the game where I kind of just knew that whatever resources I had left, just to use them all up. You could feel that the game was building to like a kind of a big crescendo, and I used it up. I tried to use the infected that were chained up as much as possible as well to my advantage, which I thought was cool that you could do that. And you finally get through to the prisoners, who informed me that Abby tried to stage an escape and had been brought to what is called the Pillars.
Mm-hmm.
She set off to these pillars, which is just...
That wasn't so grim. Also, at this point, Ellie is basically...
She's bleeding really bad.
Pretty heavily.
Previous wound that she had. Yes, true, you should say that, because at that point we were kind of expected an almost like a Gladiator ending, where no matter what happens, I can see Ellie going out here. This is,
just a fight to the death.
Yeah, this is it. We find Abby and Lev both tied to these pillars, completely malnourished,
crucified.
Dead, to these pillars. And it reminded me, D, of when we find Maria in Gears 2. She had just become like a shell of a person, I can't.
Yeah, like you could even see, like physically, she had like degraded massively.
Yeah,
and, like,
she
her hair had been cut.
Yeah.
Her face was all sullen and sunken. She was completely just on death's door nearly.
Ellie doesn't kill her or even harm her at this point. I thought it was a great moment when she sees Abby pick up Lev, saying, "It's okay, I got you," which kind of resonated to when Joel did the same thing for Ellie back in the hospital. I was kind of like, okay, this is cool that they've included that, but where are we going with this? And we both walk to the beach where Abby tells us that there's boats waiting. There's 2 boats,
there's literally 2 boats,
which means that the 2 of us are gonna leave here. And we get another flashback, another image of Joel lying bleeding as Abby loads Lev into the boat, and she says, I can't let you leave. And ultimately, we're left with a giant knife fight here.
Yeah,
which
I thought only one person has a knife, actually.
Yeah, true. Which I thought was an awesome fight, by the way.
Did you?
They were just both. I thought it lingered on maybe a little too long, but they were both just completely worn away at that point. You could see it. I love as well when you fight with a knife, like it's proper visceral. Like you can see the damage that you're doing. But yeah, I enjoyed the fight.
For me, I thought the fight was fine. I was more annoyed that we had to have the fight, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, at this point, I was like, Ellie, like, what are you going to achieve here? Oh, you had another... Exactly. Yeah. Like, she's dead. Like, if you wanted her to die, you should have walked away. You didn't walk away. You helped her down for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like, it just sort of felt like they were kind of like... It felt like they were, as I said before, sometimes they're just trying to reinforce the point a little too much. I was just like... I still didn't believe, even when they were fighting, that she was going to kill her. I still had the back of my mind she's going to let her go.
I did, and I thought then that she would be left with this kind of dilemma of what do you do with Lev?
Yeah.
Right up to the point where you're actually drowning Abby, and I just thought it was so tense. Like you could just hear the music had built. I think it was almost like a heartbeat kind of sound. You could hear Abby's flailing in the water. And she gets this. We see this image of Joel sitting on a porch with a guitar, and she stops.
Yeah.
Which at that point, I think to me is kind of just, to me, it's almost like Joel's telling her, enough.
Yeah.
It's fine. You've
that's
done
justice.
That's just, you've avenged me, if you like.
Yeah.
And we let Abby go.
Mm-hmm. We finally did the same thing that we were going to do. We did 10 minutes ago, and that basically had happened 2 years ago at the thing.
I mean, ultimately, with the decision to let Abby live, I was delighted with, because I had built up such a like a relationship with this character in the game.
There was 2 reasons I was glad that eventually she decided to let her live. But one, because I just didn't think that the character Ellie would ever have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I felt they kept feeling like they were putting her in a situation where she would do it, and I just never believed. Even whenever she was hunting her from day one, I didn't think she was going to do it.
Yeah.
After the red mist had faded, after torturing Nora, essentially, again killing her 2 friends, I was like, she's going to realize that she's not being seen here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad. Obviously, I'm glad, because Abby was a good character to play as, and you could see the good in her, despite the fact she did something bad, just like Ellie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I had another point there. I forget what it was now. Oh yeah, I think, as you said, whenever she had the flashback of Joel sort of happily sitting strumming guitar, that was kind of like her own mental kind of framework, that Joel died, I seen it happen to Fern, I need to avenge this. It changed whenever she basically had Abby dead. Like, she'd done it. Yeah. She decided at the very last second not to, because she had effectively already done it.
Yeah.
Like,
that was her kind of, she kind of came to terms with the fact that that was it, Joel was dead. She had done everything to get to this point, and that was it. Now, killing her wouldn't have made any kind of real difference to how she felt at that point. So let her live with Lev and go on. Which is what
I don't think at that point, like, Ellie wasn't killing or seeking out to kill Abby for justice.
Yeah,
she was trying to do it to fix her head. Like, if you read her journal, she's talking about how she's not quite right and she can't get Joel out of her head. She keeps seeing him when she's sleeping. She can't sleep. She can't eat.
Yeah,
and I think at that point she's not doing it for some sort of justice. She's doing it because, like, the impact it's had, like the PTSD, like the effect it's had on her has her life.
Yeah.
So I think she gets that kind of, like, what's the word? Conclusiveness. Closure. She gets closure.
Closure. Yeah. We're then transported back to the house, Ellie's house, and the opening shot is obviously that Ellie has lost her 2 fingers from in the fight with Abby, which is pretty gruesome.
Bit them right off.
Yeah, bit them right off. And she goes to the house, and it's completely, to me, it was just heartbreaking, because when you enter the house, you're expecting, Dina and the baby JJ to be there, and the whole house is just completely cleared out. It's gone. Ellie's life is gone. Essentially, this haven that they work towards, their perfect farm had just all completely gone, and you get it as well, because Dina couldn't wait around for Ellie.
That's it. Like, I mean, how long would it take her to have gotten to Santa Barbara?
Exactly.
And back?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It's a month. Like, and not knowing whether she was dead or alive, it was hard, but it was awesome. And you go upstairs, and one of the last things left behind was obviously the guitar, and without doubt setting up probably my favorite scene in the game, which was the final scene. You want to talk a bit about it?
Arguably the most heartbreaking scene. Yeah. You mean the flashback to the conversation with Joel? Yeah, just like pure raw emotion.
Yeah.
So painful, but so happy at the same time. Like, she finally shown, like, signs of forgiving him for what he'd done, and
hearing Joel's voice break, and just seeing, like, their performances were awesome, and you could kind of see the tears in their eyes, and it was so good. It was so bittersweet,
But it was so heartbreaking, because it was bad, because I thought the place where Joel and Ellie had left it before he died was, I'll never forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost worse, but the place that they had left it before he died is that I'm looking forward to trying to forgive you. Or there's a potential here.
Yeah.
There's a future here.
They're gonna work in the relationship, and things may be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, there was going to be more pleasantness between them, but we never got a chance. They never got a chance for that.
Yeah.
But it's also nice because at least they didn't end on those awful terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, really just hit like hit home hard.
Yeah.
That followed by kind of Ellie being surrounded by nothingness. Because, she had that possibility, that potential. It got taken away from Abby. She spent everything hunting her down. She lost everything hunting her down. And she's left with nothing. And she can't even play the guitar anymore.
No, what she leaves behind, which I heard a lot of people saying, that was a symbolic of her kind of putting, Joel to rest. That was it. That kind of story's done and she can move on. I don't like to think of it like that. I think that Joel will always kind of be with her, obviously. I mean, what they went through. And I like to think...
I think that what she's leaving behind isn't necessarily Joel and the memory of Joel. It's the quest to avenge Joel. The last 2 years of her life.
Yeah. And we see her walk off, get basically into the sunset. You could say, well, I like to think that she's on her way to Jackson, maybe to meet Dina and maybe reconcile with Dina.
Funny, that's because Laura watched this with me, and that was her exact sentiment. Is like, I'm kind of hopeful that she can still go back. Like, there's nothing stopping her from going back to Jackson and trying to rekindle that. Another like sort of semi-message that I kind of inferred from it was the very last flashback was of Ellie showing the potential to forgive Joe, even though he'd done something horrible.
Yes.
So if you carry that message
carry
forward,
that across, yes.
There's potential for them reconciling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I see like potential for positivity in Ellie's future, and like I'm glad that she can have that. Yeah. But at the same time, I was annoyed by Santa Barbara that it happened, that she left in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm annoyed at the character Ellie or at the writers for doing it. I don't really know, but I was just like...
Is that like your kind of biggest gripe? So obviously the game ends, and is that kind of your biggest gripe with the game, would you say?
No, my biggest gripe is the switch, is day one as Abby. Yeah. I think...
Even so, after having played it, you think?
I think, the fact that eventually the Abby storyline pays off, for me anyway.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So pays off for me. That's great. But the execution of it still hurt. Like I still did not enjoy like nearly 2 hours of that game because in the back of my head I was like, I have to play a full 13 hours with this person.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe had they delivered it differently, like maybe day one Ellie, day one Abby, so you knew going in
that we were going to have two stories crossed. Yeah.
Rather than doing 13 hours. So I think they kind of had to weigh that, and they went with their decision to like, let's make you feel bad about being Ellie by giving you loads of time uninterrupted with Abby. Yeah. And like it has its effect. But for me, like it's still the thought of going back and playing that game and getting to that point again.
Yeah.
I think it would be hard for me to want to do that now.
Really? Yeah.
I mean? Yeah. Whereas, because the first game was so tight, like it was so
linear, just here you go. Yeah, I get that.
And it kind of improved on each part. Yeah. Whereas this, there's a very distinct kind of
to know that you're going to build right up to that. Yeah,
and you have to drop again. So,
to one of the biggest like potential crescendos in the game. When you're held at gunpoint by this girl.
Yeah.
But I think that's what fueled me on though. Playing as Abby is I desperately wanted to know what was going to happen at that moment at day 3. And I mean I don't think I'd have any issues playing through it again. I think my biggest issue would be just getting through that day 1 as Abby. I didn't care for that at all until basically you meet Yara and Lev. I think I could do without. But as a whole, like how would you rate this game? Or
like I would probably say 9.
Yeah.
Like I was debating between like I don't. Like the first game I would nearly say a 10 out of 10 because and I've only played it once and I felt like I only needed to play it once. I played through it and I was just blown away almost every time. I came back to the game, I was just blown away, and the story delivered in it.
It has an ending that 7 years later, like we're still like, oh my god. Do you know what I mean?
I know, yeah.
Like right up until this game was released, that was still a cliffhanger ending.
So like I feel this game is its own thing in a lot of places, which is good. But it'll never get out of the shadow of the first game.
Yeah. Well, they had a lot to do. Yeah.
Still a sequel at the end of the day. And so that it doesn't quite live up there, so I would say a 9 almost, no matter what. Even though this
Yeah.
game improves in so many different
Yeah.
ways, there's still parts of this game that frustrated me. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I genuinely just got like frustrated with like the fighting and the combat. I was just like, this is not happening for me.
Yeah. I had moments
whenever-
like that too. Yeah.
Whenever the story's not driving it for you, like
Yeah.
those moments can be like, fuck this game.
I think I didn't find too many of them though. I always find that they had the right balance of, and I don't want to use this word, but like boring gameplay. It always kind of ended with something big kind of happening, whether it be a big cutscene or a big discovery or something. You know, it always something to kind of propel it on.
For me, actually, the boring parts of the game were some of my favorites. Just like
Really?
wandering around, picking up supplies. I know it's repetitive and stuff,
Yeah.
but I was always finding like, you know, pieces of you know, little notes and stuff to kind of keep me
Which I
interested there.
loved. Yeah.
Yeah, and exploring the environments. I really enjoyed that. And so it was actually when the combat got tough for me, and I kind of, some people talk about it being unforgiving, and like it's difficult. Sometimes for me, it was like kind of like nearly clunky, like changing weapons and stuff. I didn't love the weapon wheel.
No.
And moments like that, whenever you're playing as Abby day one.
I think as you say, you only had played The Last of Us, the first one once, and that was probably years ago, I'm assuming. I literally like a couple of weeks before this one finished The Last of Us originally. So the whole control system didn't bother me too much because I was kind of fresh going into it, you know, that kind of way.
Mm-hmm. True, yeah.
But just some of that combat, especially like this new like dodge mechanic that you could do, you know, dodging attacks and stuff, that frustrated the hell out of me at times. You know, because I was because I was kind of pressing like the dodge button, and she was kind of just dodging almost like into the enemies. I couldn't get the timing right and things like that. But I love the combat.
Took a little work.
Yeah, I love the fact that you could very easily stealth your way through it, or you know, you could craft your supplies and go.
Yeah. I never once thought it was easy to stealth, I have to be honest. I may just be being bad at the game, but I always got caught.
I think I always got caught, but I always inflicted as much damage as I could beforehand. So when I was caught, it usually only came down to taking one or two out at that point. I love the game. I stick with you in saying that it's a solid 9, but the first one is still always got to be just slightly, to me, just slightly better than it. Even though this game improves in so many ways.
I think I come down on a 9, but like I come down on a 9 because I can't deny I enjoyed the game, and I can't deny some of the best moments in that game. Especially when you're playing as Abby, there's some phenomenal moments.
Yeah.
But I still think, like, if that was the same game, and if you just took the bits with Yara and Lev and the scars out of Abby's campaign, and you combined it with the open world parts and the flashbacks of Ellie's campaign, I think that game would be a perfect
10.
Nearly 10. Basically, so when I say a 9 for this, it's like I kind of wish it was done differently, but like
the only thing I think I can find with it is just that pacing issue, the fact that you've worked so hard and then bang, you're right back. You know, I had combat, even though it did frustrate me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the terror, the horror aspects of it. I enjoyed the cutscenes, the cinematics, everything was fantastic. Just that pacing element in the middle of the game. It
looks good as well.
Oh yeah,
feels pretty good. I don't think it's the best feeling game.
No,
but like neither do the first one. You can get past it. It doesn't feel bad by any stretch of the imagination.
No. Yeah, and I'm hoping that that we'll see a third, but I think that
you want to see a part 3?
Yeah, but I think definitely, like, there's a whole world there that could be explored, and you know, there's so many people with so many cool stories. I don't think what we have to touch that we need to jump back in is Ellie by any chance. I think Ellie's story has been put to bed now. If anything, maybe I'd like to see maybe like Lev and Abby, more of them characters. Where like did they get to the Fireflies?
I think for me, like a third game, if it wasn't somehow linked to the Joel Ellie thing, I wouldn't be as interested. Even still, part of me hopes it's not The Last of Us 3, and it's maybe something really interesting happened between parts 1 and 2 with Joel and Ellie. We can go back to that.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But I think actually the director of this game said that they're open to the idea of doing a third, but they think that it would be exponentially harder than the second game.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all. I think I think, especially considering a lot of the fans got pissed off by this game, I think you're more than open for a third now, because you've already kind of broken down expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You've already showed that you can play half a game as a different character, so like you've opened the door to like a lot of
possibilities. Yeah. I mean, I hope we do, but I mean, this one was 7 years in the making. I'm not holding my breath. Like that.
But you have to think the game that they made in the interim was Uncharted 4,
which was another monster.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, true.
Take your time. I think part of me thinks that the decision they made has hurt this game. Like the decision to switch halfway through to Abby hurt this game.
You lost a lot of your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your fan base.
If they hadn't have tried to do it just so unconventionally, maybe it could have worked out better. But then again, maybe they did try that and it didn't have the impact, and they said, fuck it, let's take the risk. And for the people it works for, it's going to work really well.
I think, I read I seen an interview with Neil Druckmann, the guy who created the game, the writer-director, and he said that basically they knew that they were either going to have people go, fuck, that was a fantastic game, or fuck this game. But what they didn't want was people coming to the end and going, yeah, it was okay, which I think they'll never get. You definitely have that third divide. I mean, if you played the game through, you can't argue with just how bloody good it is,
Some of the people have given this game like a 0 or a 1 or a 2 out of 10 because they didn't like the story. Like, it doesn't matter.
No reason to.
So even if you force yourself through this god awful story, like the gameplay behind it is so fucking solid, and like some of the set pieces and like just the encounters are so good.
For me, because of the character development with Abby, I think I loved it so much, and I loved Abby as a character. At the start I didn't care too much, but day 2, day 3, right to the end, I really loved playing as her. And I think they did a great job with it. Yeah.
I don't know if I would still want to jump into a third game as her.
No,
I think I'd still be more open to playing as Ellie again.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to know more about the Seraphites and their kind of background. That would be pretty sweet. What they were
kind
doing.
Of interesting as well that they decided just to let's go Seattle, new group of WLF and Seraphites. And the Fireflies are kind of there, but not really. Like, it's interesting that they did that. They could go and do that again. They could take you somewhere completely different.
Yeah. We're gonna have a right fallout on our hands here. We're just gonna travel to different parts of America.
different cities every game.
I don't have much else to say on it, D. I mean, I do, but I'm sure we'll touch on it.
Yeah.
I do want to. I've seen a couple of videos explaining why Survivor mode is the mode to play the game on. I think I'll try it, but there's no real reward for it. You can platinum this game playing on the easiest difficulty if you want. But I would like to go back in and try for the collectibles, purely because I just want to explore and read some more of those letters and things left behind. Mm-hmm. That would just be awesome.
There's a lot of lore and a lot of backstory in there. It isn't even remotely related to the main story, but it's just interesting in and of itself. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'll be jumping back into it anytime soon. To be honest. Yeah.
But not because I didn't enjoy it. I did the exact same thing with The Last of Us 1. It's like reading a good book. It's like once you're done with it, you can sit and appreciate just how good it was.
Yeah.
You can set it on your shelf and you can sing its praises everywhere you go. But it's like kind of the first time you play it is always going to be the best time, for me anyway.
Yeah, definitely. That's all I have to offer on The Last of Us Part 2. On my
I think so. I don't know how long we were on for, but Jesus, we got going there, right?
Yeah, we got a good 145 of Last of Us discussion there.
Fucking hell.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope this finds you well, and if it does, we will be back with a podcast very, very soon. But until then, goodbye and God bless.
We will be back in The Last of Us Part 3.